I'm Kourtny Garrett, President and CEO of Downtown Dallas, Inc., and we are thrilled to have all of you with us this morning in another session of the State of Downtown. We again have over 200 people registered. We started this series hearing about an overall downtown market based on our own phenomenal research team at Downtown Dallas, Inc. Then we had a great visit with Ray Washburn about his plans for the Dallas Morning News site. And we've also heard from Sean Todd, who's doing the East Quarter and the National, along with his great history of doing some phenomenal projects in downtown. Today we're going to hear from Larry Daniels, Vice President of Operations with HRI. Larry's going to bring us a great perspective on the hospitality industry in downtown. We're going to talk about what he sees in the market, why HRI decided to invest in downtown Dallas, and what's happening and what the COVID market impacts are doing in that industry where we know there's been so much impact. Now, those of you who've joined us before might notice that my background is a little bit different, and no, this is not a virtual background. I'm sitting in the offices of MarketScale, a great downtown company who's offered some help broadcasting these events with us. Now, MarketScale is a digital content marketing agency that helps the world's leading brands create and distribute content while building and engaging media channels to help fuel their growth. I can tell you it's been a great experience being up here in their broadcast center, and they've really taken our whole series up a notch. From branded podcasts to virtual events and original video productions, MarketScale powers B2B content that is educating, informing, and inspiring innovation across virtually every industry. So thank you, MarketScale, for both supporting this series and for being a wonderful downtown tenant right here in Bank of America Plaza. Now, a couple of housekeeping items for all of you. This program is being recorded, and we'll make the recording available after the event. We'll send this link out via email to those of you who are registered, and it will also be posted on our YouTube page so you can share. Throughout the entire conversation, please be sure and type your questions into the question bar. As we get toward the end of the program, we'll be moderating those questions because we want to hear from you and know what you want to hear from Larry. Now, just a quick reminder of the things that Downtown Dallas Inc. does and how we are here for all of you. I really want to thank, first of all, those of you who are joining us from our membership base, as well as our very vital Public Improvement District supporters. Since March, we've been focused greatly on our field operations, while we ensure very accurate, real-time information gets out to you as our stakeholders. We've also been spending a tremendous amount of time serving as the voice for downtown in important recovery issues. Our Downtown Safety Patrol and our clean team are still here to serve you daily, so be sure if you're not using the See Say Now app that you download that. It's available on Apple or Android. Look for it. It's a really great tool to give you direct connection to our dispatch to both of our teams. Our homeless outreach services have resumed their operations, and they've had some phenomenal success stories just in the last month. We've had over 300 very meaningful personal engagements with those who are experiencing homelessness, and over 50 of those have agreed to receive services. We've made some wonderful connections and established some great new partnerships with wonderful Dallas institutions like UT Southwestern. We've also awarded over $90,000 in grants to small businesses as a part of our storefront restoration program. And we've worked with many of our merchant businesses to create temporary pop-up spaces to increase the footprint of their patios and bring some more life to downtown. We also continue to work with our stakeholders through a business recovery and continuity program. We're working with all sectors in downtown, from our merchants to our anchor corporations, small businesses, and our residents, to ensure that we are setting downtown Dallas up for success to be an international model of recovery. We are also monitoring our local, our state, and our national legislation to, again, be the voice for those really important issues that impact downtown. And finally, we have affirmed our commitment to building a downtown for all, really doubling down on our goals for equity and inclusivity. Now, the goal of this series is to take an in-depth look at the drivers of the downtown Dallas economy, our COVID market impacts, our recovery strategies, and how we collectively ensure that future growth and equitable advancement remain balanced. Now, why is this so important? Well, the stability of downtown Dallas is critical for our entire region. We're the largest employer. We have the fastest growing residential population and have every year for the last decade. Downtown is just 0.04% of the City of Dallas land area, but 5.5% of the tax base. And our hotels bring in 41% of the city's hotel revenue. And there's no better way to dive into the downtown market than to talk to the individuals who are making these projects happen. These individuals are committed to moving downtown forward, creating jobs, growing our economy, and delivering housing, retail, entertainment, and services. Now, we're going to hear from many more folks throughout the summer. People like Mike Hoke with Hoke Global, Sarah Terry with Stream Realty, John Zog with Crescent, Amy Meadows with Parks for Downtown Dallas, and we're going to get a great update from the AT&T Discovery District here in just a couple of months. But for today, it is absolutely my pleasure to be sharing the screen with Larry Daniels with HRI. Now, Larry is a Downtown Dallas Inc. board member, so we've gotten to know each other fairly well, and we're very grateful for his service both on our directors board and our governor's board. Now, Larry is vice president of operations with HRI, and he directly oversees over half of HRI's portfolio of branded hotels throughout the nation. So he's going to bring us a great perspective on the hotel and hospitality industry. Larry joined HRI in 2011 as general manager of the Chateau Bourbon Hotel. He led the property through a $20 million renovation and conversion to the AAA 4-diamond Hyatt French Quarter, so a lot of experience in those adaptive reuse and redevelopment projects. Prior to HRI, he spent more than 30 years with Hyatt Hotels, which really has proven his experience and his expertise in the hospitality industry. Now, locally, HRI is the managing company and the developer of the Hilton Garden Inn and Mayflower buildings. The company values historic preservation in urban areas, understands the importance of market affordable and mixed income projects. It's active in full community development and stimulating in job growth. So we have been thrilled to see HRI's investment here in downtown Dallas. So with that, Larry, welcome. We're thrilled to have you this morning. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. It's a nice day here in Big D, and nice to join everyone on this call. And again, pleasure to be with you.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, Larry. Now, I want to start a little bit with just getting to know you. You've had a great career journey, and you've had a lot of focus in many cities across the country. So give us a snapshot. Who is Larry? How did you get to where you are? And why did you end up settling right here in downtown Dallas?
Well, Larry Daniels, he's a St. Louis, Missouri native. Grew up there and still have a fair amount of roots and friends and cousins, and huge St. Louis Cardinal fan. So sorry for us beating the Texas Rangers in 2011. But after high school, I moved over to go to college in Kansas City, Missouri, Rutgers University, where I played basketball and majored in accounting and business. It was a great opportunity to kind of get away, not too far, but just on the other side of the state. I joined Hyatt in 1980. For the most part, I actually started with them at Hyatt Regency Kansas City. A lot of my family's background was in restaurants, bars, so I kind of always thought that I would kind of migrate towards that arena. And so when I applied for Hyatt, I joined them in stewarding. And those of you that are on the call that are in the hospitality industry know what the stewarding, they're kind of the backbone of the hotel, the kitchen area. But Hyatt saw a little potential in me. So at that point, they moved me to hotel assistant manager and then into housekeeping, and then into as a hotel assistant manager again. So I started my growth. But then at that point, I kind of started my track around the country, Kourtny. After Kansas City, I moved out to open a Hyatt Regency Oakland, California, as exec housekeeper. Actually, while I was there, a little pat on the back, I was voted manager of the year there. Then moved down to Hyde Regency, Atlanta. Went from a 400-room hotel to a 1,200-room hotel, so it was pretty interesting. I moved down there as a housekeeping director, and then moved into assistant rooms exec, where I kind of oversaw the front of the house from a rooms standpoint. Then moved out to Birmingham, Alabama as rooms exec, then to Houston, Texas as rooms exec, then back to California again to Hyatt Palo Alto and Hyatt Ricky's. And then I had an opportunity. Hyatt was taking over a property in St. Louis, Missouri, Union Station, and had an opportunity to move back home. So I was there part of the acquisition team. And the thing I also loved was I was able to wash my mom's car every weekend. And then Hyatt promoted me to general manager after that, and moved out to Hyatt Cherry Hill, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. And then I was there for 2 years, and actually our son was born out there, so that was a memorable stop there. And then had an opportunity to move up to Hyatt Regency, New Brunswick, kind of the central Jersey, right across from Johnson & Johnson. They were my ownership group. Great owners to work with, and was really proud of that asset. And I was there for 10 years, but that was kind of when we kind of went through 9/11 and those types of incidents, similar to what we're kind of dealing with now. But I had always loved Texas. Had traveled to Texas a lot. Love San Antonio in regards to going down there annually for a golf trip with some friends. And then Hyatt offered me to move to Hyatt Regency DFW at Terminal C, 800-room hotel. And it was a great experience. It was a great experience. I had a great ownership group. Woodbine Development, Hunt, all were my owners at the time. We went through a $22 million renovation at that property, repositioned the property. But then, the itch started thinking, what does Larry Daniels want to do next? And then I was approached by my boss, Gary Gutierrez with HRI, as they were one of the first management companies that were going to go be a franchise operator for Hyatt hotels. Hyatt had just started the franchise side of their business, and they were being pretty exclusive in regards to who they wanted to come in. And with that, Gary was looking for somebody that had some Hyatt experience, opening experience. And we kind of hit it off, and moved down to New Orleans, renovated the hotel. And next thing, he came to me and asked me if I wanted to kind of do some area for them, and then into my current role, which is Vice President of Operation. Overseeing the lodging division. And then when we opened our complex here, LTV Tower and apartments and hotel, I had an opportunity to move back because I technically, traveled a lot. So like the central location of Dallas, like being able to play golf year round down here. And so I just kind of set up a regional office here. And so it's been great to be back, and great to be involved with the city, great to be involved with downtown Dallas. I've been extremely proud of what the city has done and what it's become, and, enjoy it.
Well, and we're so grateful because I think so much of your national perspective, you came in as one of our board leaders already understanding what we do. So the feedback and the input that you've had on what we do as an organization has been tremendous, and I think a big testament to your career path and really embracing and loving downtown. So I think it's phenomenal. So along with that, so that's kind of getting to know Larry. And I think really until LTV Tower and the Hilton Garden Inn, HRI wasn't as well known in this market. And in fact, my counterpart in downtown New Orleans called me when you all first had interest and said, no, you really need to take this call. You really need to talk to these folks. So tell us a little bit about the company, because I think we know you all for Hilton Garden Inn and then most recently the Mayflower residential building. But the company's portfolio nationwide is very complex and I think very meaningful in terms of full community development. So give us a little snapshot of HRI as a company.
Yeah, thank you. HRI Lodging, or I'm sorry, HRI, which really stands for Historic Restoration, Inc., started in 1982 in New Orleans, Louisiana. It was started by Press Kabikoff and Eddie Boatner Sr., and for the most part, both of those individuals are still involved with the company. Primarily, initially, HRI, they went into the warehouse district in New Orleans, which was started to be a little dilapidated, and it was right around the time of the World's Fair, which was down in New Orleans. And they went in and had this vision to renovate these warehouses into housing and apartments and condos. And so that's kind of where we kind of got our niche. But the company was also involved in the development of the Hilton Riverside down in New Orleans. And then, we really, the niche of the company is, again, going in, finding old, historic, iconic buildings, and then revitalizing those and either converting them into hotels, apartments, offices. I mean, if you look at our office right now in New Orleans, it's in the old Hibernia Bank building. And it is a old historic bank, New Orleans base, obviously, but we've converted that into our offices along with 180 one and two bedroom apartments. It's very iconic because we have this cupola that you can see from all aspects of the city as you drive around. But then all of a sudden, we started to look at hotels, and we converted a couple hotels in New Orleans, then moved to primarily in the South, Shreveport, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, also Richmond, Virginia. It's kind of where we got our start. I know when I first started with HRI, we only had 7 hotels in our portfolio. Now we're up to 25. Which is a great testament to our longevity, in our opinion. And then also we, at that point, decided to start our own lodging company. We were having brands to handle the lodging side of the business, but we decided to bring that in-house. Hence, they hired my boss, and then and at that point, we started really looking nationally in regards to our development. And Dallas was always on our radar. We do have properties currently in Minneapolis, Birmingham, I mentioned Richmond, Virginia, California, Houston, and continuing to grow. We still have a few projects that we're working on right now. But HRI, for the most part, their model is, as far as when we look at a lot of these downtown developments, especially the apartments, is, we want to be where people want to be. We want to be where people want to live, work, and play. And I think that, again, similar to downtown Dallas, what we're trying to accomplish. And for me, being a resident downtown, I see a lot of that. Obviously, a little difficult now with some of the closures of some of our institutional restaurants here, but it's still nice to be downtown. And so when we looked at this opportunity here, again, we kind of look at, HRI is a vertical company. And what I mean by that is we are, for the most part, a one-stop shop if you're an owner looking for somebody to partner with you. We're developers. We do our own construction management. We do your own asset management. We do procurement. Then also we can manage the operation for you. So that's kind of how we look at things. We really want to partner with folks that believe in the urban core. And hence we had the opportunity to pick up Mayflower around the corner here on Ackerd. And we converted that to 217, I believe, market rate apartments, market and affordable apartments, I should say. and so retail on the lower level. But again, we really believe in Dallas. We believe in Texas. So good to be here.
Yeah. Now, you do have so much of that national perspective on the hospitality side. So let's go ahead and really kind of dive in and what you're seeing in the market, and really what changed in March and what's transpired since then. And let's start with the national perspective and then hone in on downtown Dallas.
Yeah, from a national standpoint, obviously, when when the pandemic hit, and obviously we had the closures of companies, closures of restaurants, air travel non-existent, conventions canceling, events canceling, major events canceling around the country. We saw our business levels plummet. From high of 75, 80% occupancies in some markets down to 5 to 10% to 15% occupancy. So huge, sharp decline. And then, obviously the civil unrest didn't help at all when that happened, obviously, especially with our properties up in Minneapolis, where we really had to, at that point, to shutter them. We try to, and I know a lot of hotels try to stay open with reduced skeleton crews, so you can at least keep some kind of cash coming in. But it was very, very difficult, very difficult. And so we are continuing to see some lift around the country, primarily weekend activity, though, I would say. We still have about 3 hotels that are currently closed in California, just because of the phase process and obviously the increased caseloads that they're experiencing out there. And but again, it's been difficult, and I don't think until we probably get a vaccine that it's going to really get any better soon.
And how about here in downtown with the Hilton Garden Inn? Specifically, what are your plans? How are you coping? And obviously, you just said until there's a vaccine, it's kind of remains to be seen, and there's a lot of uncertainty. But do you have some preliminary thoughts on what might happen through the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we're really focusing on weekends in our hotel. And because that's truly what we're seeing. I think it's, I call it the pent up demand, people wanting to get out of the house because, I think, hotels that have pools also are kind of doing a little better. We here, though, we truly are, as I said, and not trying to be repetitive, but really focusing on the weekends because there's just not a lot of demand drivers. Obviously, we're not seeing a lot of corporate travel at all. We are seeing some project business that's here and there, but it's really, really spotty. Again, in midweek, we're seeing 5 to 10% occupancies. We're also seeing a lot of end-of-day reservations. I don't know if people at some point decide I need to get out of the house. And then we're also, but again, but weekends we have spiked to anywhere from 30 to 50%. Which again, honestly, we're really happy to be at that level. But we don't have our restaurant open, Elm Street Castle Kitchen. We're really just kind of managing food and beverage out of our little pantry, and then just supporting the local businesses, restaurants that are around us. If our customers are looking for food and beverage, we're just sending them either across the street to Campese's or Ascension, and so we just have a list of all the restaurants that are open, because that obviously is one of the initial questions that a lot of guests will ask when they come in is, what is open? And so we want to just make sure we have a good, good feel. We also direct people up to some of our lovely parks that we have if they're looking to get out and walk around. But it's, still, we're still running things tight. We've, as a company, we probably have laid off about 78% of our workforce.
Wow. And I mean, a tremendous impact. And we hear that in the industry, it's pretty common, unfortunately. So the majority of the people who are joining us today are from the downtown Dallas business community. And you and I have talked at great length about recovery strategies and how to do things like packaging up experiences between institutions and other restaurants who are open, or how do we leverage the business travel that is happening. So with the strength of the force of people who are just simply tuning in today with the business community, how do you think we can work together? Obviously, our hospitality industry, and I'll include our restaurants and retail in that as a whole, have been the most significantly impacted thus far. And it is vitally important to ensuring that we maintain momentum and maintain the vibrancy downtown. So how can, yes, DDI help, but how can we as a downtown community help with the recovery efforts in this industry?
Well, I know I obviously speak a lot with Visit Dallas, and we're obviously members of the downtown community, hospitality community from that standpoint. It is, it's going to be a struggle. Obviously, from a convention center standpoint, trying to see what we can get as a city to get more, some conventions to start coming back, and obviously, get some of these major events to come back. But from a recovery standpoint, we are really focusing in, and I know Visit Dallas is doing the same thing, talking to Brad and members over there that, we do see regional, it's going to be regional travel. At the end of the day, it's going to be regional travel. So what does that 200, 300 mile radius look like in regards to digital marketing, to, promotions, and then making sure from that standpoint that we are truly in tune to what's open. So when our guests come visit us in our lovely city, that they know what to do. So, and I know as we look at, and as I talk to our general manager here and our director of sales here, we're looking to see what we can package, be with the aquarium, the Perot Museum, targeting, weekends, Clyde Warren Park, which is an awesome experience. It's great to see the food trucks back over there. But again, just really packaging as much as we can with events or activities that people want to see, because there's just, I think they still want to get out. And also, I think with the work from home and the homeschooling that is happening right now, that I think that families being able to come out and maybe experience the city from an educational standpoint is something else that we're trying to see how we can target.
And I think that's such a great point. I think, as you and I have talked before, I think so many Dallasites are rediscovering our city and rediscovering the assets. So that local staycation or the regional drive time, as you know, we fully support and are working with Visit Dallas as well to really create the marketing to support that. Let's talk a little bit about the operational challenges that come along with COVID and how you overcome those. For someone who maybe hasn't stayed in a hotel yet, what should they expect?
Well, we are, as HRI Lodging is concerned, we're approved operators for all the major brands, which I think gives us a little leg up in regards to what all the hotel companies are doing, right? From a clean stay standpoint. But, for the most part, we are truly trying to make sure that, when you come into our properties, that you see and you feel that the properties are clean. Obviously, we have all of the PPE equipment around. We also, working with, all the local guidance that, each city has. So, our front desk, our restaurants that are open have masks available if individuals do not have masks, because obviously we want to keep our employees safe and keep our guests safe. But, we are seeing from a cleanliness standpoint, from a housekeeping standpoint, historically, it would normally take a housekeeper 20 to 25 minutes to clean a room. Now we're looking at anywhere from 40 to 45 minutes, and really stressing the fact that when that room is turned, that it's clean, and the rooms are sealed at that point. There's actually a sticker that goes on the door. So you as a customer, when you come to that room, you know nobody has been in that room since a housekeeper has completely sanitized that room. And for the most part, all the brands, there's like 10 to 12 touch points in each room that they want to make sure that we take the extra time for. The other thing we're doing is, we're not, and those of you that are on the call know how we used to turn a hotel where you'd have 100 rooms out and 100 rooms coming in back in that same day. I think gone are those days, because now you have to let the room sit for even 24 to 48 hours before you have a guest reoccupy that room. So we're also, from a lobby standpoint, we have signage up about what we're doing to keep the hotel clean. We're also starting to see a lot of customers utilize digital key, where they check in online, their smartphone device is their room key. We do have that at all of our hotels. So sometimes they just even bypass the front desk and just go right to the room, and their smartphone is their room key. So we're seeing a lot of that, and that is also being pushed by a lot of the brands, just because of the contactless interaction, which is good and bad, because at that point you can't, that hospitality side of the business, which is what we are, kind of goes away. So you have to still find those touch points, and along with the PP and the face mask, right? So we're kind of teaching our employees, and I think a lot of the companies are doing this, is, smiling with your eyes, right? Because you can't see the facial features anymore. So, how does a guest know you're not, frowning at them or whatever? So trying to, touch point from that standpoint with our employees. But, we're also, from a occupancy level standpoint, pools, you can only have so many people in the pool to, even some of our restaurants are only at 20%. Some of our restaurants are only, our bars that we do have in a couple areas that are only open 4 hours. But even in those areas, we're constantly going through the area, sanitizing, desanitizing, to make sure that everybody feels that, that the buildings are safe and clean and COVID free.
Well, I know I've had one hotel stay. It has not been in the Dallas market, so I won't say where. We're one of those families who had to get away drive time for just a little bit. And I do have to say, it is remarkable how the industry has pivoted and how truly safe it does feel when you walk in. So I hope others will give it a try.
Yeah, and I would say, the American Hotel Lodging Association, the Texas Lodging Association, they are continuing to network and push information out to, to all the communities in regards to what our industry overall is doing to make sure that you're safe. Obviously, similar to what the airlines are doing right now, right? I think gone are the days are the quick turnarounds on the airlines. So, everybody wants to make sure that no matter what you're doing, that they're, your safety is their number one priority.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to remind our audience that we will break for Q&A here shortly. So if you do have burning questions, make sure you are typing those into the chat bar. And as you all are our experimental audience on this new platform, I will ask our tech team to come over and make sure I can see those questions as they're coming in. Now, Larry, I want to shift over to your residential experience and the company's residential investments here in downtown and nationwide. Tell us specifically in the Mayflower here in downtown, what are you seeing in terms of occupancy, COVID market impacts? Are you offering rent concessions at this point? Have you been asked? Just in general, what are you seeing on the multifamily side?
Yeah, I get involved with that just because, one, I'm a resident here in our LTV Tower, so I definitely get the synergies of a mixed-use complex. But in regards to, we were, between LTV and Mayflower, we're about 97% occupancy, 96-7% occupancy up until about 3 months ago. And now we're still okay. We're still about a 90% occupancy at both LTV here in LTV Tower and also the Mayflower. We are, from a COVID standpoint, we're ensuring that we're similar to the hotels. We're, ensuring that the elevators are wiped down consistently. We're communicating with our residents in regards to the mask ordinances and what the cities are doing, and also making sure that they communicate with us if they have any concerns, or honestly, if they have an issue from a virus standpoint, just so we can make sure that we're protecting everyone that's in the building. From a concession standpoint, yes, we are. At the end of the day, we are not going to throw anybody out in the cold, and that was definitely something that came down from our CEO, Tom Leonard. And for the most part, we're trying to work with all of our residents, and if that's some kind of tacking on the additional renting at the end of the lease or something like that, and we're also making sure they're aware of what services that are available to them, be it, from a rent concession standpoint, what the city was offering to, because again, we get all these, our property managers are also heavily into, what is out there to help these individuals that potentially have lost jobs or their hours have been cut. So they're also sending out emails. We have flyers that are on like all of the different floors of our garages to kind of share and make sure that everybody's aware of what's available to help them through this time period.
Well, and I think that's just indicative of HRI's commitment to communities overall. So zooming out just a little bit, in a lot of other markets, you all are involved in mixed income housing, utilizing HUD, utilizing LIHTC. Talk a little bit about just the company's vision and why the company feels that's important to do in these communities, and can we expect to see something like that in Dallas in the future?
Well, like I said, a couple of our partners truly believe in urban core, and they love to see iconic buildings, and they want to take those iconic buildings and, we kind of determine what the market needs. Does the market need a hotel? Does the market need a housing? And then, obviously working with the local state governments in regard to what potential credits, tax credits that are available. And then, what should that demographic look if it's a housing complex? Should it be all market rate, or should it be a combination, or should it be affordable housing? So we kind of go in, and our guys, our asset manager, our development team, we kind of study the market, obviously sit down with people like the DDI and the city, and really see what the city needs. And, from a development standpoint, we would like to see something in Fort Worth. I know we're looking over there, but we're also looking in other markets. We do feel that there's still some opportunities out there, obviously still some risk too. But we really don't have anything in development on the apartment side right now, although we do have 3 hotel developments under construction. One being an old historic building in Pittsburgh called the Garrett building, and we're converting that into the Industrialist, which is going to be a Marriott autograph collection. And then down in Tampa, across from City Hall, we're building a Hyatt Place that'll be opened in March of next year. The Industrialist in Pittsburgh will open in December, knock on wood. And then down in Austin, Texas, near UT, we're building a Hilton Garden Inn that's about a block, I think, about a block and a half from UT. So, and that'll open in September of 21. So little development still out there, and we're still getting calls, and our development team is getting calls as far as opportunities, and we'll just take them, case by case, and see what makes sense, and also see what the lending community is going to allow.
Right, and we were talking about that just before we went live in terms of the lending community still being active, which I think
Yeah,
is really helpful.
we've been fortunate, Kourtny, as I shared on, again, like you said before we jumped on here. But for the most part, all of our lenders have been. It's been a blessing. It's been phenomenal that they are working with us in regards to mortgage deferrals, et cetera, to interest only. Again, just so we are able to preserve cash and kind of get through. Honestly, get through the next year and a half. I mean, as we look at our projections for 21 and on, and if you look at what Smith Travel is saying in regards to our industry, obviously, which is tied to the airlines, I mean, we're really truly not looking to get back to I call it pre-COVID levels, and probably till 2023, which is kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, and that actually answers one of our first audience questions, which is what do the current forecasts indicate regarding the beginning of a turnaround, and will funds be available? And I think you've certainly talked about that with the lending community and when we see the turnaround. And I know there's also been a pretty impactful report put out by Visit Dallas that predicts, really hitting some occupancy rebounds in 22, but then full rate rebounds not until 23 or 24. So.
And Kourtny, I would just add to the lending community a lot. I think, I hate to say it like this, sometimes it's all about relationships, right? And the relationships that you build with them and the confidence that they have in you as an entity. And I think we've been fortunate enough that, the institutions that we deal with have the confidence in us that we are going to rebound. And that's obviously we got a little pain that we got to deal with right now. But if we're still, focused on expense controls and still doing whatever we can to, drive the top line and in partnership with our CVBs. I think that our CVB, especially here, and I know in other communities, is really pushing, to get our hotel community out there. And I really applaud them for that because, again, that is truly a driver and what really needs to happen. And that group community, those groups coming back, those major conventions coming back, which, we're not seeing, major conventions really back in a lot of markets until the second half of next year. Even beginning of 21, a lot of conferences are moving out of 2020, the first quarter of 2021, moving into the second half of the year. So, so we still got a little pain to deal with.
Yeah. And again, stressing those of us on this call really need to come together to lift up this industry that's so important to downtown. For this next question, I'm going to shift back to more of operations. Mm-hmm. Alex here from Dallas says, thank you for sharing your thoughts. So thank you for that, Larry. Can you speak to the modified security efforts you're having to make due to the use of the digital key system being deployed and ensuring a safe guest experience?
Yeah, that's an interesting question and a good question. I will tell you, for the most part, when this all started, we kind of, I call it, we put our hotels on lockdown, right? For the most part, all of our properties, you do have to use a key to get into the building. And, that was one of the big feature that I always wanted as I got into the development side of it. Because at some point, you do need to kind of secure your building. So you have to, your key has to open the door to get you into our lobby. And then obviously, the key, your digital key will get you into your room. We do have security in all of our buildings. I would say that that's one of the things that even when we went to our modified crews, skeleton crews, whatever you want to call them, we really wanted, we didn't want to penny pinch on security because at the end of the day, you do not want to have an issue in your hotel. The other side of that is that we are also, and I'm sure some of the other hoteliers on this call will probably express the same, the customer that we're seeing in our hotels is obviously not the corporate travel. travelers. So it's a little more of a difficult guess. And as I mentioned, the housekeepers are having to clean the rooms. So take a little more time to clean the rooms. But really just trying to be aware of who's coming into our building. I will also like to applaud the downtown security that we have. We have had a couple issues, and they've been here to help us through those.
Well, thank you for that plug. Now, Larry, last question, and it's kind of one of those big ones. What keeps you inspired during these challenging and uncertain times?
Well, I would say I had an owner that I was talking to one time, and he was saying, Larry, I like talking to you because you still, no matter how gloom and doom, you always seem upbeat. And I would say a lot for me, Kourtny, is supporting my teams out there in the field. Because even though, I get out, obviously our travel is shut down also, but our general managers, and this is as an industry, they're the ones that are on the front lines dealing with this each and every day, and not having the resources that need to honestly pay the bills sometimes, to the reduced staff, to the layoffs that they've had to do, to the all of that, and so I want to be a support for them and somewhat of a beacon of light for them. Because again, they also need someone to vent to. They need someone to support them and listen to them sometimes. And I had a call with all my GMs a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things I talked to them about, Kourtny, was their mental health. Because I think that we are all going through a lot, and I think we're all internalizing a lot. And is it going for a run? Is it going for a bike ride? But what are you doing for your own mental health? And then even now, what we're dealing with is some of our GMs dealing with the virtual schools that they're having to deal with. And, I'm sorry, we're a 365-day-a-year operation, 24/7. So for, a general manager, whatever, say, hey, I can't come in because I got to take care of my kid. So we're trying to work through those situations too and be accommodating. So that's really it. It's just trying to be a support tool for them, and they know that no matter what it is, they just want to call and yell at me or whatever, or vent, that I'm going to be there for them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a great message. And again, I think one of the things that really comes out from this discussion today is the importance of also supporting our community, supporting our downtown community, looking for ways that we can help industries recover. So we're so grateful you spent this time with us today, Larry. Thank you so much. And thank you for all you do for Downtown Dallas, Inc., because you spend a lot of time with us when there's not a lot of time to be had right now.
Well, thank you.
And thank you all for joining us. Please join us for our next event on August 13th. We'll have Mike Hoke with Hoke Global. They are developing the new park project just south of City Hall, as well as So Good just south of I-30 in Cedars. So we look forward to hearing from Mike and what he has in store for his development. I also want to take this opportunity for those of you who are joining us who are not yet DDI members. It is a very important way to help fund the projects and the programs that we run to help downtown. We are a private nonprofit organization, and in addition to the Public Improvement District funding, membership allows us to serve as the voice for downtown, to engage in active corporate recruitment, and to help with all of the quality of life and the experience that you have in downtown every day. Be sure to sign up for our emails at downtowndallas.com and follow us on all of your social media platforms. There you'll find the most up-to-date things to do, list of businesses that are open, as well as important market information and important operational information about the changes that we're seeing downtown every day. We also have a COVID-19 resource page available on our website that has resources from small businesses to mid-sized businesses, as well as those of you who live downtown, and resources that are available to you. We also have our State of Downtown report on the About Us page, and that is really wrapping up what this entire series is about, and it's giving you the most up-to-date information about what's happening in the downtown market straight from the source at Downtown Dallas, Inc. Again, thank you so much to Larry Daniels with HRI. We are so grateful for your time this morning. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I hope you all have a great rest of the week through the weekend, and I'll see you again on August 13th.